Clancy, and get ready because one of my most requested videos ever is here. Alas, the story of how I became a TV news reporter, and I hesitated filming this for a while just because I feel like I'm always talking about parts of this and parts of my videos, but I guess I've never sat my butt down in this chair and really told you from the very beginning. Like, not just like, oh, I was applying for jobs, like the beginning. Like, I'm talking about before I even knew I wanted to be a reporter, how I knew, how I really got the start. You know, like how I like actually did it, because you'll see in this video for a while I literally thought there was just no way. Like it was a story full of many doubts, and my story is still going. I'm a TV news reporter for the ABC and Fox affiliates in Dayton, Ohio, and I've only been here for about a year and a half. So please, I'm not a veteran. Don't think I'm pretending or trying to be one. Trust me, I know I'm not, but I still think this video is worth watching. A, if you're just interested, like how the heck did you, like what? Or B, if you do want to become a reporter. Keep in mind, everyone's path is going to be different, because I used to be obsessed with hearing like, oh my God, this is her spot? How did she do it? Like, what was her path? Like, do I need to go to like these 3 states and that? Like, no, everyone's path is different. Without further ado, here is one of my most requested videos ever. So growing up, I always had a passion for being in front of the camera. I just was obsessed with it. I loved it. There was just something about it. And that grew into me creating an entire YouTube channel. So this YouTube channel that you're on right now, I created in high school. And I just loved it. I never really cared. I guess I don't want to say never. In the beginning, I would have cared what people thought. But once I started doing it, I didn't care what anyone thought. I just always loved being in front of the camera, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's really hard for me to put into words why I love it so much, but I do. So when I finished high school and it came time for college, thinking, you know, what am I going to major in? What do I want to do for the rest of my life? 2 things popped into my mind, and both of them kind of had to go under the category of journalism. So I love writing. I've always loved writing. I literally, actually, sitting right here. This is just one of my 500 journals. That is just, I don't want to open any pages in case anyone screenshots it, but a lot of words on these pages. I've just always loved writing. So I knew journalism, okay, print, that could be cool. And then also there was broadcast journalism. And that was so exciting for me as well. So I went into college majoring in just journalism, and I could find out whether I wanted to do print or broadcast when I was in there. And to me, I always kind of was leaning toward print in my mind, because it just seemed like a more logical, easy approach. Okay, I will write, and I can do this, and like not trying to be weird, like growing up, like teachers told me I was a good writer, and when I got to college, teachers were telling me I was a good writer, so I kind of thought, cool, I'm going to be a print journalist, and that's going to be the easier route. I can get a job in New York City, I'm from New York, and that's that. But something in the back of my mind was always telling me, like, why would I choose print when I do broadcast? Like, it's literally not work, it's fun. And like, why was I pushing away from this? Like, it was almost like I was scared to make my hobby a career. And eventually, or not even eventually, right away, I joined my college television station. So obviously I'm very outgoing, but when it comes to like advocating for myself and that type of thing, oh gosh, I'm very to myself and not pushy or assertive. So for your college television station, what you do is each week you do a broadcast, like a 30-minute newscast, and they ask for what position do you want to be for the week. So you can choose the anchor, you can choose a producer behind the scenes, a camera operator, a script writer, all this stuff. And I was always too embarrassed to say I wanted to be the anchor. I wanted to do the anchor for the week, because I thought people would think like, oh, she thinks she can do the anchor job. Like, she obviously can. She's not the part. Oh my gosh. Like, that's how it was what people thought about me my freshman year of college. So I was too shy or embarrassed. But I volunteered in college at a local school, kind of just volunteering with the kids. It was actually such an amazing experience. It was their after school program. Okay, this has nothing to do with it. But anyway, it was an amazing experience volunteering. It's funny how I'm just putting the piece together now, like little things help you out in life that you don't even think about. So I was just volunteering at this school, and I met a friend through volunteering who was one of the main people on the TV station, because he drove the vans. They had people who drive us in vans to wherever we volunteered, because we didn't have cars on campus if you were a freshman. So he would drive me each week, and we became friends that way. But I never told him I wanted to be on camera until one day we were driving, and I mentioned it, like, oh yeah, maybe one day, like when I'm an older, you know, junior or senior, I'll sign up to be the anchor 1 week. So he knew I wanted to be on camera. And one day I got in the car, and he said, Clancy, the person who's going to be the weather person called out sick today. It was Tuesday, I remember, when we had our television broadcast that night. And he said, do you want to do it? And yes, like I just said yes. I was so scared, but I said yes right away. Oh my gosh, what are the odds of this? It was like my big break, right? So I remember getting ready that night in my room. It was like, I think at 9 p.m. This was so late. 9:30 actually, p.m. And getting ready, doing my hair, doing my makeup. And I thought, like, I don't think for as long as I live, I will ever be that nervous to do anything. Like, even if I spoke in front of a crowd of 1 million people, I will never be that nervous that I was that day. So nervous, guys, like you can't even believe. And then I went up to the thing and the newscast was going on and it was my time to do the weather hit, right? So I had it all on the teleprompter, what I was going to say. It was a script that was already written because the guy wrote it when he called out sick. Gosh, I will never get the feeling of literally feeling I was going to throw up, faint, die, pass out, all of them. And it goes to me. Think so, okay, and now Clancy Burke with the weather. And then the teleprompter shuts down, freezes, blank. And I'm literally just staring into the camera, not knowing what to do. It was like out of a movie. Like, what are the odds that for my first big break and it just all shatters? They thought I just froze and was nervous, but I was like, I didn't want to say, obviously I couldn't say, like, the teleprompter's not working. So I literally was just like a deer in headlights. Truly, that's what I looked like. But then the teleprompter eventually started running. I started talking, very nervous, but then before I knew it, like, I wasn't good, but I started getting more comfortable and I loved it. Like, I fell in love with that. And I remember I called my mom right away that night as I was walking back to my dorm room, and like even she could tell you like the amount of like energy and just like happiness and like hype that was in my like voice, in my just everything was like crazy. So I did a couple of weather things that year, and then the next year I even signed up to be anchor, which was huge for me. I'm just not a very assertive person at all, and so it was a big deal. And I would do the anchor position. I would be so nervous that you can't even believe it. I sucked. And the reason I sucked is because I refused to watch myself back because I was so horrified by what I looked like and how I sounded. Biggest mistake ever because I never grew. I literally never got better because I never saw what I sounded like. So I, throughout college, was just always like, I wanted to do this on-air thing. I wanted to be a reporter, but I just literally didn't think I was good enough. I thought you had to be a model to be a TV news reporter. I thought you had to look beautiful and all of this stuff. And so like, I'm not a model. Trust me, I'm the furthest thing from a model. So I literally was like, oh gosh, I can't do that, which is ridiculous. We all have our imperfections and that's what makes it so great. No one wants to watch someone who's perfect anyway. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't speak well enough and I'm too nervous and all this and that. And so I kind of put the whole on-air thing on the back burner and thought, I'm just gonna go behind the scenes. So I thought for a really long time I was gonna be a producer. And then my junior year of college, I got an internship, which was like my first into the business. It was at Madison Square Garden, and I want to give you guys a full disclosure because I will always try to be as honest as possible on this channel. My mom works at Madison Square Garden, and that is literally the reason I got the job. Like, no one ever said that was the reason, okay? I'm not dumb. They knew my mom worked there. I ended up interning like 4 doors down from her office. And the reason I find it so important to put this in there is because I want you guys just to know like the full journey that like, yes, a lot of times in life it is about who you know. So here's the thing though. Did I get the job because of my mom? Yeah. Like there's just no way I didn't. Like there were so many candidates and yeah, okay, is there a chance that I could have gotten it without her? Yes, but in life it's just so many times about who you know. But did I deserve to be there? I can sit here and say, yes. I worked my butt off. It was amazing, and internships are so important. They show you what it's really like. And this was my junior year of college, spring semester. This is when I really started to kind of like fall off the college bandwagon, where I was interning 3 days a week in the city. I was going 2 hours each way. So I would get home so late. The sun would be set hours ago, and oh gosh, it would be like 7 or 8 o'clock most nights, and then I would just instantly fall asleep. And then the next day, I would have like an 8 a.m. class because I was interning 3 days a week. The other 2, I was in class. It was nuts. And, you know, I'd watch my friends go out in college, party it up, and like I would come home a lot of Friday nights and just fall asleep. I literally couldn't go out, and a lot of nights I did go out, and I regretted it when I was dead, okay. But it was so worth it, and I fell in love with the production industry, right? But I still wasn't positive what I wanted to do. I was mildly interested in news my freshman year, but not so much. I would go to the gym every single day, Monday through Friday, at 5 o'clock. Run on the treadmill, and while most people were watching the Keeping Up with the Kardashians or other things, I was watching the news. And I really liked it. But when my passion developed for the news, like when I became obsessed, was my senior year of college during the 2016 presidential campaign. I couldn't take my eyes off the TV. And then I got an internship at WABC in the investigative unit, which like changed my life. It taught me everything. I got to see the way the news industry worked, and I knew I wanted to be on camera, but once again, didn't think I'd be good enough. Like I thought there was no way I was gonna get a job. And then I was contemplating to myself, like I knew that if I wanted to be on camera, do a reporting job, I would have to move away from everyone and everything I knew. Because reporters, you don't just start out in New York. New York is the #1 market, so if you happen to be living in, you know, market number 180, you're fine. You could probably stay there, like you're fine. But I am from the #1 market. That's where my family's from, that's where they live. I wasn't gonna get a job in New York. I knew I'd have to move. And the idea of just moving to a random city by yourself not knowing anything, having to suddenly pay my own bills, get this own apartment. Like, it was crazy. And I kind of like the fact that the process is like that because it weeds out if you really want to do it or not. There was no half doing it for me. There's no like, okay, like no, I am going to be moving to a new freaking city, a new freaking state. It's going to be crazy. I have to love this. And I knew I wanted to do it. My second semester, senior year of college, I said, we're going to do it. Very last minute. I created a reel in a matter of a couple of weeks where I did a whole bunch of fake news reports. I just set up my tripod. It was just me and did a bunch of fake news reporting. That was terrible. It was on YouTube. My mom told me to private it because it was so embarrassing. Like after I got hired and stuff, okay? Like she's not mean, but she was just like, you have better stuff now. Don't let that be out there. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I mean, and it took a lot of courage to even, because no one wants to fail at anything. Like what if I sent out that reel and no news directors wanted me and then it was just a big fail? That would have sucked. But I remember I sent out the reel one of the last nights of March. I remember like going to Starbucks and having a huge list. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna make it my job to find a job. Like that was my job. And I started applying that day. And I'll never forget that night, all of a sudden, receiving an email from Panama City, Florida, from one of the nicest news directors I've ever spoken to. Oh my God, I'll never forget just sitting in my dorm room and being like, someone is interested? Like, what? I had heard that it will take months for anyone to get back to you, and then you just take the first job you can get. And the fact that someone got back to me that night, I couldn't believe it. I called my mom up, I was shaking, I was about to cry. And I remember her first thing was asking me, are you sure it is a legitimate station? Thank you, mother. But, she was just looking out for me. And I remember instantly everything went crumbling down. And I was like, oh my God, she's right. It's a fake. It's a fake one. It's spam. But I looked it up and it was real. The next day, another station contacted me, and then another, and then another. And then stations that I didn't apply for started contacting me because I put my reel up on YouTube and the news directors found me that way. And it was the biggest whirlwind of a couple of weeks to the point where like, I couldn't sleep at night. Like I've never experienced that in my life except for that period where I would be exhausted because I was interning in the city with wabc. But I couldn't sleep at night. My mind was just racing with, oh my gosh, is a news director gonna email me? I would be obsessively checking my phone every 5 seconds. I didn't get an email from news director. No one wants me. We're done. We're done. And it was just craziness, guys. It was crazy. And it is actually, I was not planning on sharing this, but I was looking at it the other day. It's in my diary where the job I'm working at now is Dayton, Ohio. I didn't apply for it. And this was on April 6th. Dear diary, well, the emails from news directors have stopped. I was worried because I wasn't getting any more emails from news directors. And then, listen to this. ... As I finished writing that, my phone buzzed. Email from, I don't want to say his name, but my news director now, who I love, of Dayton, Ohio. His email said that he's not really looking for someone right out of school, but I see great potential in you. So I don't get it. I guess I don't have a chance? Or maybe in the future? He said your stand-ups show terrific personality and range, so I don't know. Either way, this whole job search has been driving me insane. I literally do not sleep anymore, and it is terrible. I broke a blood vessel in my eye from lack of sleep and had to eat 2 breakfasts yesterday to stop shaking. I check my phone every 3 minutes, desperately hoping I'll have an email from a news director. I'm disappointed when I don't. I really am just so petrified and feel so doubtful and hopeless. I really do want this for myself. I really do want to be a reporter. I love it, and it's going to be so unbelievably hard getting my foot in the door, but I know that I am capable. And then the very next day I wrote, my levels of stress are indescribable. I'm actually worried about my physical health. Last night was another sleepless one, and I'm sick to my stomach with worry and fear. What if no one wants me? I'm definitely not accepting Panama City. It just feels all wrong. But what if I get no other offers? Beggars cannot be choosers, but should I settle? Right now, guys and relationships cannot be any farther from my mind. All I care about is my career. That's my sole focus. Going into it, I knew the job search was going to be difficult and I knew it was going to be stressful. I guess I just didn't anticipate how much it was going to affect me. I feel so down about my talent and abilities, or rather, the talent and abilities that I don't have. It's so bad. I literally cannot do anything but look for job postings and look at other reporter reels. I just don't even know if I can do this whole thing anymore. My voice sucks. And I'm just not cut out for this, it seems. But all of this negative thinking is A, certainly not good for me, and B, not going to do me any good. But yeah, so what ended up happening was my news director now contacted me, and then the only other one that I was seriously interested in was Little Rock, Arkansas. I flew out to Dayton on a Monday, flew home on a Tuesday, flew out to Little Rock, Arkansas just a few hours later. Like I went to bed that night in my home, and then I flew back to my house in Long Island. And then I went to my internship the very next day in New York City. Like, it was intense, it was crazy, but it was so worth it. So when I went to Dayton, Ohio, I just got this feeling. First of all, my news director had weird things in common with me. He was married in the same church that I was baptized in. What are the odds of that? Like, we didn't know each other before this at all. And so many like weird things just seemed right. Like, the people I met just seemed like me. Like, I don't mean they seemed to like me, I mean they seemed similar to me. I was a nervous wreck on the job interview though. I remember my mom and I had an argument over, she wanted me to wear a blazer so I could look older, more professional. I was like, I'm not doing it. I ended up wearing the blazer. And it just felt right. Like, I was so excited about this. I'll never forget when I did an on-camera test for Dayton, Ohio. I had no idea anyone knew about my YouTube at the station, which, plot twist, they all knew. This is the first thing that pops up when you Google me, I'm dumb. It was just an on-camera test where the anchors just say, literally, we're just having a conversation, just like a chemistry conversation, just see if I can talk to people. Like, literally, it was nothing. And the first thing they go, hi, like a pretend news thing. Hi, we're here with Clancy Burke. And Clancy, tell us, how long have you been doing your YouTube channel? I wish I had that tape. I had no idea anyone knew about my YouTube channel. And literally, I literally just paused for like 3 seconds and was just like, and then I just like jumped right into it. And I had no idea my news director knew about my YouTube channel either. I didn't know until we obviously had phone conversations of interviews, and then I didn't even know until I was sitting in his office and he said, how long have you been doing this? And I said, well, you know, I'm in college. Like, I haven't been doing it. Like, what? And then he was like, your YouTube channel. And I was like, what? Do you see my YouTube channel? Guys, if you've been following me for a while, you know there's some weird stuff on here. So I was like, this is awkward. I'm dumb. Obviously he knew about it. Like, why am I dumb? But I literally tried to hide it. Yeah. Dayton interview went amazing. And when we were driving back to the airport, me and the news director, I remember getting this like weird feeling, like, cause I knew I was going to Arkansas the next day. I almost felt like I was like cheating on Dayton. And he said like, so like, when can we talk about like the next step? Like, I knew he was interested, and I immediately came clean and I was like, hey, like, I'm very interested in Dayton, but I'm flying to Arkansas tomorrow to interview at a station. And it was just like an awkward goodbye, kind of like a, wow, this is, yeah, I don't really know what's about to happen, but thank you so much for everything. And so I went home that night, slept for a couple of hours, and then flew right to Little Rock, Arkansas, and wonderful station. It was actually a bigger market. Who knows, I probably would have made more maybe if it's a bigger market, but it didn't feel the same that Dayton felt. Nothing was wrong with anyone. Like, everyone was wonderful, but I didn't get the same feeling I got in Dayton. And when I got back to New York, I ended up having to make a decision, but it was kind of a non-decision. Dayton, Ohio just felt right, which is crazy, guys, because I knew nothing about Ohio. The farthest west I've ever gone is like Pennsylvania. I've never been to Ohio. I do not know a soul in Ohio, so it still was in the back of my mind like, Ohio, am I really gonna do this? But actually, just another diary entry from April 16th, 2017. Dear diary, all I can think about is the future. I am so freaking excited to be a reporter, also terrified, but yes, I can't pretend I'm not so excited. This morning I woke up super early and watched the 6 a.m. news to get a feel for what the early morning reporting is like, because I knew that was my job offer in Dayton, which my job offer in Arkansas was not this weird shift, so it's weird. Like, a lot of things on paper might not have lined up. Like, in Arkansas, I might have made more money. In Arkansas, my schedule might have been normal, but like, it just didn't feel right. Seeing such talented, beautiful people makes me feel very insecure and doubtful of my own capabilities, but also very motivated. I still have to hear back from Dayton, and honestly, I'm so scared. I'll be so heartbroken if I don't get the job. I am so inexperienced and in many ways feel unworthy of it, but that doesn't stop me from wanting it. Ugh, I'll be so sad and disappointed. Meh. I have to trust that everything happens for a reason. When one door closes, another opens. I will find a path for myself. I am determined as heck. And this next diary entry goes along with the whole, like, having to say no to one news director. Dear diary, it is very weird how much my life is about to change, and very weird how okay with it I am. Boys have been the farthest thing from my mind lately, and I realized that I definitely will not meet a guy wherever random place I move. I honestly won't even have time, and I feel like having a boyfriend would just hold me back and distract me. That's not true. That's not true. I'm so terrified of letting down whichever news director hires me. I want to make them happy with their decision, you know? Oh Lord, I am so scared and confused. About this whole moving across the country to a completely random state thing, it feels weird. It's something that absolutely no one else around me is doing. It's scary. I've never experienced anything like it, but that's kind of why I'm doing it. I feel like I've never done anything just because I wanted to do it. It's going to be absolutely terrifying, but worth it. It's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. I just know it, and I know this is what I'm supposed to do. And so I ended up going with the Dayton, Ohio job, obviously. And then from the diary entry that I got hired, dear diary, well, your girl got hired. In less than 2 weeks, I pack up my entire life and move across the country. Well, to the middle of it. I'm saying goodbye to life as I know it. I'm terrified, but excited. I already know how lonely and homesick I'm going to be. I love my mom and dad so much. I love my neighborhood and friends and life, and I'm throwing it all away to move to a random city in which I don't know a soul. Am I crazy? Am I making a huge mistake? I have no idea. On top of all that, I have a brand new job that I know I'm overwhelmingly underqualified for to worry about. I genuinely don't even know what to do. I have no idea what this news director or any news director sees in me. I know that I definitely need to be confident even if I don't feel it. I'm actually pretty good at faking it, thankfully. Everyone who finds out about my little career move looks at me like I have 8 heads. A huge part of me wishes I was moving back to mom and dad's house where I'll have another nice summer before another year of school. But life begins outside your comfort zone, and I know in my heart that this is what I need to do. And then the next diary entry, in case anyone's wondering, was, Dear Diary, I think I have MRSA and I'm so scared. That was a fun little time at my college house when one of my housemates had MRSA and everyone thought they had it. I didn't have it. I literally cried. Okay. And I moved to Dayton, Ohio just a couple of days after graduation, which I'll never forget, sitting at graduation and hearing girls next to me and to the right of me talk, oh my God, what are you doing? Oh, one girl was going on a 1-month European vacation. Most people were just moving home with their parents. And then I'll never forget the girl next to me saying, what are you doing? I didn't really know where we were sitting in alphabetical order. That's why I was with people I didn't know. And I was just like, oh, I'm moving to Ohio. And everyone literally looked at me like I had 5 heads. And a lot of things were not ideal. I had to find an apartment without ever even looking at it because there just was no time to look at it. I had to get hired right away. I literally did a FaceTime tour and then said, cool, sign me up. Like, it was crazy. My parents both visited me the first week or 2, helped me move in and everything. I could not have done it without them. And gosh, I remember the first bit of work was crazy. Like, when I first started work, I was so underqualified. And I'm not gonna really get into my beginning of my news career because I can do that in a second video because this video is so freaking long. Let me know if you want that because that was an interesting journey and it was not without a lot of bumps along the way. But yeah, that was my journey to get to where I am. It was not a straight journey. It was not easy. I had so many doubts. You saw the diary entries or you heard them, but whatever you want to do, you can do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Got a little insider information just to even just this industry and just my life in general. It's crazy to look back on, and that's why I think keeping journals is so important, because I would forget that I even felt any of these things. I would forget that I had these doubts. I really would, if not for these entries. So I'm grateful for that, and if you guys want, you guys can follow my social media for a little behind the scenes look into my life. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, they'll all be linked down below. I'm gonna rest my vocal cords because I am tired, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.